Big news coming in from England, where Harry Brook has been confirmed as their next white ball captain to take over from Josh Buttler, who left the job after England's Champions Trophy exit. Matt Roller, England white ball specialist, assistant editor, joins us to break down that decision. Matt, it has been troubling times for England in white ball cricket for a while. Is Brook the right man to take the job?
I think he is the right man. I think it definitely signals a change in direction in terms of England's white ball cricket and cricket more generally, in that if you think across the last decade, their white ball captains have been Owen Morgan and then Josh Buttler. Both at the time have been very much white ball specialists who haven't been involved in the Test team. Brook is very different as an all-format player, and I think that's going to be one of the big challenges for him, is managing his workload and making sure that he's fresh for big international series. England have a huge year coming up, really, with Test series, 5 matches against India at home and then an away Ashes tour leading into a T20 World Cup in India and Sri Lanka, which means that it's going to be a real challenge for Brook to sort of juggle the pressures of captaincy with also making sure that he's at his best with the bat in the Test team. So it's going to be a big ask of him, but I think if you look at the candidates, I think he probably was the right one. He's shown some good leadership skills already, both with England in an ODI series against Australia and in the 100 for Northern Superchargers. But it's going to be really interesting to see how he fares at international level for sure.
Quite a list of the challenges that you point out to. To that, you add the factor that he's himself not had the best of times in white ball cricket, it's fair to say.
Yeah, he struggled in India in that bilateral series at the start of the year, and things didn't go to plan in the Champions Trophy either. I think it's quite obvious watching him bat in 50-over cricket that he's still learning that format. It's something that he's not played a huge amount of, which is a familiar challenge for a lot of teams and a lot of players in this day and age, but something that he's going to have to come to grips with pretty soon. And I think the big challenge is heading into that T20 World Cup next year, how he plays the turning ball, because he's not had a great time of it over here in India when he's come over in the IPL in 2023 and since then in white ball cricket for England. So I think that's definitely going to be something that will be interesting, because I think captaincy is so much easier for any batter who's scoring runs.
Yeah. I think the immediate challenge, of course, becomes the road to that T20 World Cup in conditions where the last few big tournaments haven't worked out for England. How much of a challenge is that, especially considering, I think you've pointed out in the past that when England have gone into World Cups after a long Test cycle, it's not really worked out.
Yeah, it has always been a challenge for them during their winters. I think if you look at England's history, generally if they go in from an Ashes into a 50-over World Cup or a T20 World Cup, it tends not to go particularly well. And that will, again, be a huge challenge, I think. If England do well in Australia and can go into that World Cup full of confidence, it might be a different situation to if Brook has just had a tough time on his first away Ashes tour and going into that tournament. I do think it's disappointing, or a shame anyway, that Brook's not over here for the IPL, when you consider the value that tournament could add not only to his own game against spin, but also his general understanding of what conditions might be like in the IPL at certain venues. I think that was something that we saw in the 50-over World Cup last time, was that England didn't have that sort of local special, the knowledge in their backroom staff around certain venues and the conditions that they faced. And yeah, from that point of view, I think it's a bit of a shame that Brook isn't over here at the IPL. The flip side of that, of course, is that the workload management that I referred to earlier, it's a rare chance for him to actually have a gap and some time away ahead of what's going to be a huge year for him in international cricket in all 3 formats.
Yeah, these couple of months are probably the last break he will have for some time if he stays fit. Just final word, who were the other contenders in the mix, and could that point us in the direction of who could be Brook's vice-captain?
Well, one of the interesting candidates was Ben Stokes, was mentioned as a contender for the ODI captaincy specifically. I think England have made a good decision to leave that well alone, given his fitness struggles over the past period of time. Some of the other names that were thrown around were Phil Salt, Liam Livingstone, Ben Duckett, and in the T20 team, Sam Curran as well. I think all of those are possible contenders for vice-captaincy. And I think that will also become a pretty important role during Brook's tenure, because you would imagine that there might be the occasional series where he needs to rest. For all of those guys, and probably Salt and Livingstone in particular, it feels like it's going to be a big IPL because they need to prove that they should still be in the team first and foremost.
All right, Matt, thank you so much for breaking down that news for us. The last 2 white ball captains, Owen Morgan, Josh Buttler, between them had the golden generation of England cricket. Let's see what the Harry Brook era heralds.